Hey, today we're going to look at page 155 and we're still continuing the journey on reading and writing decimals. This time we're going to get the decimals in word form and we have to put them into number form. Let's take a peek. Kyle's sisters, Bridget and Sylvia, run a race. Sylvia finishes the race 1 16,000th second behind the winner. Bridget finishes the race 2 35/100ths second behind Sylvia. What decimal represents these measurements? First thing I want to do is and. I'm going to put that decimal right with the and. That separates the part and the whole. So let's look at the first one. 1 16,000ths. 1 and, okay, 16 thousandths. So we know we can't end at the tenths, we can't end at the hundredths, we have to end at the thousandths. 16. So what's the last number in 16? A 6. 1. And what do you put there? A 0. So in other words, 1 and 16 thousandths is written 1.016. Don't forget that 0 in the tens place. 2 35/100ths. Okay, 2. We know what that is. And decimal 35/100ths. We don't end in tenths. We do end in hundredths. So we've got to write 35. Boom. We just go 3, 5. So there we have those two decimal representations. We're going to jump ahead past the next page. We're going to go right to 157. So at the top of 157, compare the mixed numbers of place value representations 1 and 16 thousandths. How does the model show the number of whole seconds? Okay, here's what I want you to do. We're going to write a mixed number, which basically is your fraction as well as your whole number. So we are going to do 1 and 16 thousandths. So we're going to write 1. What place value are we going to? Thousandths. So let's put 1,000 as my denominator. And then how many of those thousandths? 16. And let's look at it at place value. What I want you to do is draw another one of those place value charts. Ones, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 1. How many ones are there? Well, it tells you there's 1 1. What about tenths? 1 and 16 thousandths, there are no tenths. What about hundredths? There's the 1. What about thousandths? There's that 6 to end with 1 and 16 thousandths. So you can see, as your mixed number, 16 just goes on top, and what's the lowest, or how far are we going? We're going to the thousandths place. And then when you write it out, just make sure we read thousands, we end at the thousandths place, and then kind of work backwards. Compare expanded form of the place value 1 and 16 thousandths. How does each model show a fraction of the second part? Don't worry about number 2. We kind of just covered it right up here. How can you write 1 and 16 thousandths as a decimal? 1. Don't forget the and is your decimal. And 16 thousandths, not tenths, not hundredths, but thousandths. 6, 1, 0. There we have 1 and 16 thousandths. No, you don't need to underline them, but I just underline them just to show we go out to the thousandths place and then work backwards. How can you write 2 and 35/100ths as a decimal? Well, we know what 2 is. And 35/100ths. So where do we end? Hundredths. Tenths, hundredths. and it's 35 hundredths. So this is what I mean by working backwards. We know that there's 35, 2 digits to fit. Just write 35. 2 and 35 hundredths. Explain how you can write the standard form of a decimal given in word form. The only thing that I need you to have down is that the decimal point is equal to and. If you can get that part down, that separates the whole number from the part of the number. So just make sure you have decimal point is equal to and. Question number 6, it says reflect. We're going to reflect by ignoring it. And we'll see you again soon.